I want to take a moment and thank you guys for the insane support I've been getting recently. I've been absolutely flabbergasted seeing the numbers that I am. You guys have kept me motivated and encouraged to keep going with this, and to be honest with you all, I've thought that my Black Ops 2 content would perform very average. I didn't think it would really go far, but you guys definitely proved me wrong there, so I'm eternally grateful for that, and I hope you guys decide to stick around for the ride. So welcome back to episode 3 of us looking at the Black Ops 2 multiplayer maps Out of Bounds. I decided that I will eventually include zombies in this series, prolonging it to a total of 15 episodes, but for now, we're on number 3, and let's focus on that. So welcome to Meltdown. There's not a whole lot to see here, it's not quite as expansive as you may think, but it is still enjoyable no less. So behind the glowing nuclear spawn, as I'll call it, there is an interesting road that you can walk on, and the collision here isn't too bad. The geometry on the side doesn't have any, but at least you can walk on the ground for a little while. And as a curious individual myself, much like some of you viewers are, the road doesn't lead anywhere too special, unfortunately. It just goes into these rocks that you can sort of walk right through. I'm probably standing on top of the invisible ceiling present in the map, but yeah, you can actually walk out here for some time. There is a fair amount of geometry to see all around you, and the power lines, they're an interesting story too, except they stand on literally nothing, but I suppose that's not surprising because you're never going to see that from the map itself. So my curious behaviors peaked when I decided to take a look at that glowing nuclear room. I wanted to see what was going on behind the enclosed fence and everything like that. And surprisingly, you can walk on it, except when you get towards the middle of the machine itself, you will fall right into the water below it. I'm still curious what this is. I'm, like, very unsure of what I'm looking at here, but I know it's pretty cool. It's definitely the better side building between the two spawns. So I do love taking a look to see what's behind closed inaccessible doors, and this door in Meltdown was no different. Except it took me nowhere, and that map entirely disappeared for a second there. If you check out the out of bounds section of the other spawn, the road doesn't have collision, and it actually goes around right beside the map and then just crashes into a wall. There are 2 roads in the map that actually connect with each other after curving around the cooling tower. I wanted to see what was going on in the cooling tower itself, and while the smoke graphic isn't great, nor is there collision here, I don't know why I expected it to, it still works for what it's supposed to do. And just taking a look at these little flame pole things, I have no idea what the names of these things are, they're a cool addition to the map as well. We also got this lonely little fire tower pole thing, I still don't know the name of this. Hopefully somebody in the comments can provide me with some info. Lastly, here's our full view of Meltdown. It takes up most of that space along all those buildings, so that's pretty cool. To play Overflow isn't a great experience by any means, but to explore it out of bounds, however, it's not half bad. I think you'll find some cool stuff here. The one thing that did suck about Overflow is almost nothing out of bounds has any collision to it at all. So there's no standing here, it's mostly just flying, but yeah, you can see that there's a fair amount of detail here. Some things are paper thin, but the 2D stuff come pretty quickly, I found. However, the 3D models are done well. The buildings look really good. There's not a whole lot of low resolution work done here other than the 2D buildings themselves, which would make sense. So over here there's a lower surface, and if you try to land on it, you'll just be swimming in water, which I found a little peculiar, but it is an interesting find. So there's this out of bounds section of the alleyway that you can enter, and if you do it, you'll find that there's not much here, but there is collision, which is nice. It doesn't really lead anywhere though, and you can just waltz right through that door as well. If you go through this specific gate, you can walk around for a bit, but you will go through the fence and likely fall off the map, much like I did. There's a little bit to explore here, and there's quite unique geometry around us, which is a nice touch, but it sucks you won't even be able to see this fountain. So just to get a decent view of the map itself, it blends in really well, where it's a little bit hard to catch where the actual map is, which is good. That's kind of what you want. But you can see the resolution already kind of drop here, and the collision gives out soon after. This place is very unpolished, which it doesn't need to be polished, but I'm just saying. So I was interested in looking at the water part of the map. I thought that there might be some goodies here, and I found something that is anything but good, and it's even worse because it breaks the immersion while being in the map. So right now I am in the accessible part of the map. I am inbound. But you can see here that Treyarch cares about the map about as much as we do because of the lack of polish with the water. You can literally see the abyss from inside the map itself, which does break the immersion, unfortunately. So I wanted to investigate how these crates worked in the water, so I decided to find a ledge that I could actually sit up on outside the map to take a look to see how it works. So when the crates get close to the bridge, they vanish, but you can't see that from inside the map itself. You don't have the right angle to do so. And so when they teleport, because that's what they're doing, so when it disappears in front of the bridge, it reappears far out on the side of the map. They appear right behind that little vehicle. So now we are on Plaza, which is the most exciting of today's maps because there's actually a lot to uncover here. So of course I try to check any inaccessible doorways, which the bathrooms are no different, but there's nothing really going on back there, unfortunately. So I wanted to see what was going on in the second floor of Club Solar, and yeah, while there is a few too many invisible walls, it is still a pretty well-made place altogether. You can go around in the full circle, and while again there are a bunch of invisible walls, doors that even separate you a bunch, that's okay, because they all interconnect pretty well. I wanted to see if there's anything cool about that orb, about that light, I guess you could call it. You can stand on the bar, which is pretty cool, but yeah, you can't get inside this thing, and whatever it is, it's nothing more than just a particle effect. One thing I was interested to know was how these lights functioned in Club Solar, and if you go to the inaccessible section on the first floor, you can get a good view of them and see, yes, they are their own 3D models with their own behaviors, and the glass is just used to give it that orange color, which is cool. You can see this aircraft behind one of the spawns where, yes, there is collision on its landing pad. And if you take a look around that area, yes, you can walk on top of the water similarly to cargo. And everything here is actually at a decent resolution too. Nothing here looks out of place or Nintendo 64-esque. So I wanted to see what the front of the plaza looked like. What was going on here? And yeah, while there wasn't a whole lot, if you go to the other side where the other spawn connects in, yeah, you get a very similar look to it too, with the sailboats and everything like that. And you can walk on water just the same. But my attention was drawn to the other island altogether halfway through, and there's surprisingly a lot of stuff going on here too. You can still walk on water this far, even though nothing here has collision. The water still is fair game to walk on. And yeah, I was shocked that there was so much going on here. So many trees. There's chairs, pools, everything like that. Lights that work. The resolution of things were alright. The lights were a nice touch too. Fireworks are happening here too. Like, Plaza is a great looking map in my opinion. And the fact that there's so much going on. And there's even trees on the inside of the building you can't even get close to. Plaza is just so finely detailed, even with the stuff that is so far away. Half of these things you can't even digest with a sniper scope. And they still put it. They still put all this work here. I can't believe Treyarch. They did such a good job with this map. I am absolutely stunned by just how much Plaza has to its out-of-bounds sections. Given that it's such a small area by comparison, there's still so much to look at. I'm very appreciative of maps like this, because next to Drone and Cargo, Plaza is up there as one of my favorites to explore. I wanted to show you guys what was going on behind the map, on the side of it rather. Behind Club Solar, I mean. And yeah, there's a pool here, there's some roads that connect from each side of the spawn. A lot of cool stuff here, and there's even this nice little bridge there too. A couple bridges, actually. Our last stop is at this weird water platform I found under the map. I can't explain it, but here we are. So thank you for coming to watch the third episode of my Out of Bounds series. I do, again, plan on making a total of 15 episodes. But hey, if you guys have any suggestions on other things you may want to see, I'm more than happy to do so. So with that in mind, everybody, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Hope you have a great day. You take care for now. Goodbye.